When we think of Russia and Ukraine in particular, Starlink has come back and said, not to our knowledge is it being used, right?
Well, Starlink denied that its devices were being used in Russia, that its service was being used in Russia, although the claim was not necessarily that the devices were being used in Russia, but in Russian-occupied Ukraine. So in other words, in Ukraine. And this kind of calls back to this earlier incident that happened, which was reported in the Walter Isaacson book, where Musk apparently, according to Isaacson, stopped the service from being turned on in Crimea, which is international law recognizes Ukraine, Russia annexed in 2014. So you have this situation where Starlink, which was developed essentially as a civilian technology, Musk has talked about, this was for Netflix and chill. This is something that was meant to be used for video calls and so on, has been partly because, it's pretty useful and the way it's used has become like a de facto military technology. And SpaceX has been trying to capitalize on that while kind of beating back criticism that it's doing so in an irresponsible way.
Caroline made a good point, which is the wording Musk used was to the best of our knowledge. And one user on X said, what do you mean, the best of your knowledge? And his response was, the link doesn't work. By that, I think he means that the technology doesn't work in the Russian jurisdiction. I guess, what more do we know about SpaceX and Starlink's ability to control things in jurisdictions, right? I know there's that map on the website that shows where the product's operational.
Yeah, I don't think they're able to control the use in a very granular way, and it's possible that these devices, Musk has denied that Russia purchased these devices. Possible the devices were captured. Of course, it's also possible they were purchased through an intermediary or something like that. And of course, we should look at all these claims as claims, right? This is the Ukrainian military reporting something that they overheard through their intelligence. So again, it's all pretty fuzzy. I'd say what it does show, though, is that, Elon Musk has kind of made a show of weighing in on foreign policy, of expressing sort of not exactly pro-Russia sentiments, but views towards Russia that I'd say are more sympathetic than the one viewed by the United States government. And that creates like an additional layer of complexity when something like this comes up. Because, whatever is going on, you have, this very loud, very opinionated CEO weighing in on political issues. And that creates, again, an additional layer of complication as they're trying to market this potentially to military groups in the U.S. and U.S. allies.